Back in Naples, Mamma Mia's Pizza Parlor, one of the places you must visit, especially if you are a pro watercross fan, because it is owned by the family of Erminio Iantosca, who is racing in our next event, the Pro-Am Runabout GP. Iantosca will be a factor in this race, and another name perhaps to look out for in this one, Mike, Brian Baldwin.
Well, Erminio Iantosca going to be on a CB1237004. Brian Baldwin, another front runner, going to be on a Yamaha. It's a battle of the manufacturers.
And for more on Baldwin, let's get it down to Mackenzie on the beach.
Thanks, guys. Now, Brian Baldwin is just 37 years young. He first saw the sport on his TV in 1987, and ever since then, he just wasn't able to get enough. And he also builds all of his own machines, so let's see if he can win with one of them today.
And there it is, the start underway, and a pretty good start off the line for Erminio Iantosca. And there's a look at Iantosca as he makes his way towards the split. We'll see whether or not he can pull the hole shot, looking awfully fast right now as he took that inside split. And Iantosca able to get through and gets your hydro-turf hole shot.
Looks like 109, Eric Francis out of West Palm Beach, Florida, on the Kawasaki, going to wrap it up in second. And then I do believe Brian Baldwin on the 502 machine on the Yamaha, coming through that right side chicane in third.
Iantosca, an 8-time national champion, 2-time world champ. And guys, he's trying to atone for a poor performance here in Naples last year. Finished 5th in his division after he had a breakdown in a race. And he has all week long been working towards getting some atonement, and a fantastic job getting off the line at the start of this one.
Erminio Iantosca jumped that Sea-Doo off the line there as he went down that hole shot, ran a flawless inside split, came through those buoys, and when we blended together on the merge, Iantosca pulling off that hydro-turf hole shot.
Iantosca, last year was his first chance to race in his hometown when his machine broke down, so he's been looking forward to this for a long time. And he said earlier this week leading up to the race, he said, quote, "I've got a lot better equipment this year. I'm confident I'm not going to get 5th this year."
Well, you know, interestingly enough, Dave, yesterday in the qualifier, Iantosca pulled a killer hole shot, but only went about 100 yards and then broke. He actually changed an entire motor out overnight last night.
There you see second place right now, the 109 of Eric Francis out of West Palm Beach, Florida.
So Eric Francis down the front straightaway in second, 502. Brian Baldwin out of Catawba, North Carolina on his factory Yamaha, holding on to that third position.
And again, it is a 10-minute race before the white flag comes out, which will indicate the final lap to decide the world champion. As Iantosca continues to be out in front, 22 years he has been racing and is happy to be a Sea-Doo rider. There's a look at the third place watercraft.
Boat number 502, Brian Baldwin, riding for Yamaha. He's going to run the inside split section as he's currently holding on to that third position, trying to make a move on Eric Francis on the 109, who's in second. Baldwin off the inside split, not going to be enough this lap.
Baldwin takes pride in building all his own machines. And Brian Baldwin, 37 years old, has been racing for 18 years. Said he saw it on TV in 1987 and he was hooked. Knew it was what he wanted to do.
And guys, I saw as Baldwin came out of that split, coming down the front straightaway here, his motor shut down for just a beat. He looked down at it and it got hot again and it relit. Something's up.
And that's certainly going to put something in the back of your mind as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you're listening for anything unusual at all.
There's a look at the second place boat of Eric Francis.
Eric Francis on the 109 machine, coming off the outside split section. Now there's a lapper between he and Erminio Iantosca, your current leader, so Francis is going to have to get by that lapper as Brian Baldwin on the 502 machine, still back there in third, trying to close that gap.
And guys, for Francis, this is his second race of the day. He also rode in the Pro-Am Runabout Box stock race. And what kind of toll does that take on your body when you're hitting the water twice in a span of a couple of hours?
You know, this is the class that is probably the most physically demanding in that there's so much. I mean, some of these things have in excess of 400 horsepower, 0 to 60 in just over 2 seconds, I think. The G-forces in the turns are just unbelievable. So to try to hang on to that after you've already run a race prior to the day is really something.
The athletic ability that it takes to be able to control these watercraft and the nerves it takes to be able to hit the throttle as much as you need to hit it to go around the turns. I mean, anybody can hit the throttle when you got a straightaway, but when you're still riding that throttle going around a turn, that's when you really have to have control of your machine.
Well, we talked about the G-force that is actually going on in the body and in the machine as they go into these corners. Herminio Iantosca still out in front with Eric Francis trying to close that gap in second and Brian Baldwin on the 502 machine in third.
And these machines can reach speeds up around 90 miles per hour.
Absolutely. These machines in the closed course racing will be pushing 85 miles an hour, pushing 90, right around in there. Earlier in the week, we had machines in the hydro drags do over 100 miles per hour, Dave.
That is a whole lot of horsepower out on the water.
So down the front straightaway, looks like Herminio Iantosca, your current leader, Brian Baldwin on the 502 machine, currently holding on to that second position, and 109, Eric Francis slips back to third.
And we have passed the halfway mark, so less than 5 minutes remaining now before they will put out the white flag. And Iantosca, continuing to be out in front, wants to continue to maintain this lead. And second place continues to be Brian Baldwin.
Yeah, Baldwin had made the move and gotten by Eric Francis, and now that he's made that move, he's really starting to close that gap on Iantosca. There's a lapper in the way. Iantosca goes to the outside split section. Brian Baldwin to the inside, trying to close that gap and not get caught up in lap traffic.
And when you're in the lead, how do you use that lap traffic to your advantage?
You know, at that point, I don't think you even think about trying to strategize. You just want to get by him any way you can. In a perfect world, they've seen the blue and yellow flag and they move over for you. Sometimes, though, you will get tied up behind him. It can be very frustrating when you've got somebody coming up behind you and you can't get by. The split section is where it all happens.
Mackenzie Thurkill is on the beach. Let's join her now. Mackenzie.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Now, earlier in the broadcast, we talked about forearm pump. And what that is that as these guys are trying to muscle the skis around their buoy, their forearms actually go numb with how heavy they are. Now, Larry, I know this class wasn't your specialty, but I cannot imagine that it's very comfortable.
No, you know, when you feel your arms going away and you're trying to hang on to these beasts, you know, it's the last thing. You try to take your left hand, get it off for a second, try to shake it out, but they're so powerful, so fast, you don't want to let go.
And so many of these riders, in addition to training on their watercraft, they have to spend a lot of time in the gym just getting themselves physically fit to be able to handle the watercraft.
Well, a lot of the racers, have a regiment. They get up in the morning, they run, they lift weights, they go to the lake, they spend time with their machine, with their mechanics, dialing in the machine so that they can be that fast when they come to an event like this at the World Championships.
Herminio Iantosca, he got off with a very good start to this race. The HydroTurf hole shot belonged to him, and he's got a very, very good lead right now as he looks to try and hold on to win another world title. And the native of Naples, Florida, happy to be doing it in front of his home crowd. He's got a lot of home support here at the lake today.
Yeah, actually, Dave, Herminio Iantosca, the Iantosca family, they own a pizza place right here in Naples. Mamma Mia, some of the best sauce that you could possibly experience on a pizza. I think we're going to have a pizza party if he wins, Dave.
I'm down with that, especially after the free plug you just gave him.
Well, I'm known for my freebies. So down the back straightaway, you see Brian Baldwin on the 502 machine trying to close that gap on Iantosca. Iantosca going to run the outside split section. Here comes Brian Baldwin off the inside section on the Yamaha. It's Yamaha against Sea-Doo right here.
You see Iantosca as he makes his way through that outside split. And Iantosca getting the number one as he goes by, which means 1 minute to go, and the white flag will be coming out shortly.
Well, the story here, too, Dave, is Ian Tosca got away with that great hole shot brought to you by Jet Lift and HydroTurf. And Eric Francis was in the hunt for a while on the 109 machine, but he has faded back. Just had to pick up a penalty buoy. That means that he missed a buoy while he was out there racing.
And when you got a double back, that is certainly going to eat up some time, as Ian Tosca has run a clean race since the get-go.
So here they come off the outside split section. Herminio Ian Tosca, a local boy from Naples, Florida, down that front straightaway, 5:02. Brian Baldwin out of Catawba, North Carolina, trying to close that gap. Sea-Doo against Yamaha, the manufacturers watching this one close.
And Ian Tosca, next time he comes by, is likely to see that white flag, which means he'll only have one lap to go. Ian Tosca, we mentioned, from Florida. An interesting fact about him, which is extremely unusual for anybody that's from the Sunshine State, does not like seafood.
But he likes pizza.
He does like pizza. No anchovies.
No, thank you.
And we're looking at the GP class, which means that they can make any modifications they want to try and maximize the efficiency and the speed of these machines. And how much goes into the testing week in and week out to try and perfect the machine?
They put a tremendous amount of testing. A lot of these machines may come from the manufacturer with a supercharger or turbocharger, and a lot of times you'll see the mechanics turning things around. They'll try a turbo instead of a supercharger and back and forth. Everything out here has got one of the two on it, blowers in one form or another, and like I say, well in excess of 400 horsepower on most of them.
And we are on the final lap as the white flag comes out.
So Herminio Ian Tosca working his way off that back straightaway. Just one split section to go. He's going to choose the outside split, and one more time, Brian Baldwin going to try that inside split to see if he can close that gap.
Brian Baldwin, a long gap to try and make up as Ian Tosca is coming down, and there it is, the checkered flag for the local boy out of Naples, Florida. Ian Tosca, for a third time, is a world champion in pro watercross.
Brian Baldwin made that good run to try to close that gap, but just not enough, Dave.
Just too big of a hole. We will hear from the champion when we continue here on CBS Sports Network.